highly recommend the broccoli slaw salad from Trader Joe's, you know. Smells like a little stinky fart, but it tastes really good.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Tuesday, September 1st. I'm J.E. Skeets, and joining us here live, as always, Tass Mellis.
Happy September, everybody.
Happy September, Tassie. We got the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-yo! We've got the international man of mystery taking it to the max, Leos.
Friends.
And last but not least, making the magic happen, JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. Shout out to everyone joining us live right now on YouTube and to everyone downloading and listening to the podcast. We just wrapped up our best month ever in terms of downloads and listenership. So thank you so much to everybody that's been listening to No Dunks Daily here. Keep your questions and your comments coming for this week's new Beach Steppin' podcast. We're going to be hitting the beach tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, after our daily show. So email us, nodunks@theathletic.com, or tweet them in at NoDunksInc. All right, guys, we got a fun show lined up here today. We got the up-down report. Remember that? It's been so
classic.
long. Yeah, get your thumbs ready for that one. Thumbs up or thumbs down in the up-down report. And Trey's got a fun little top 5 even for us. So we've got it all here on a Tuesday. But let's start with the games, recapping some beauties yesterday in the association. Chris Paul delivers in the clutch, baby. Thunder win 104-100 to force Game 7 versus Houston. Oh, Zaza. All right, Task, get us started, man.
Game 7, baby. Yeah, this was a really close game. Each team just doing enough, but also making a lot of mistakes. I thought it was the team who wasn't going to make the most mistakes that was going to win this game because they had a combined 41 turnovers, giving up the ball, and it came down to the last few minutes. You had James Harden, Russell Westbrook against the closers of Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder. On the other side, it's 4:20 left. The Rockets are up 6 after they hit a tech free throw because Chris Paul was angry. Chris Paul, the president of the Players Association, doing an air punch. That man knows the rules better than anybody in the game. And I thought, you're going down in this bubble like that? You're getting upset about a Dennis Schroeder charge call, down 6, 4:20 left. I thought it was over. And then, boom, Chris Paul turns into the closer that he is, that we know. 2 huge threes back-to-back. Schroeder hit a layup, and then CP with a couple free throws. And on the other side, the Rockets couldn't hit a shot down the stretch. Last 4:20, they hit one basket. It was a Russell Westbrook layup, but that was sandwiched in between a couple real bad turnovers from Russ and a jumper from the free throw line. That was an air ball by, I don't know. Yeah, way short. But what was really weird was that he kept up the gooseneck. He followed through on the shot. You keep up the gooseneck when you bury a shot, but he kept it up. Is like he was looking to see, did I actually miss that? I don't know. He was startled by that miss, and it was startling to see him miss by that much and to just give the ball up twice. So Harden and Westbrook couldn't close that thing out. You got to expect Westbrook to have a better Game 7 because he had 7 turnovers in this one, 0 the game before. Mm-hmm. But what's really scary is that Westbrook's still on a minutes restriction, and he knew after the game, he said, yeah, I'll be on a minutes restriction in Game 7. So he's obviously not right, not to make excuses for those ugly turnovers. And people saying, why didn't James Harden have the ball? Yeah, hindsight. James Harden has messed up in this series as well. Close game down the stretch. I think we're going to have another close Game 7. But yeah, the CP was the story, especially because Gallinari chipped in with 25. Shea had enough, giving them something. And Lou Dort hit a couple threes in this game. I think he can only shoot from the right side of the floor. I think that's legally. He's not going to be able to shoot from the left side of the floor in Game 7. But yeah, this is what we all sort of predicted, these close games. And what's weird is that the Thunder finish out close games and the Rockets are winning in blowouts in this series. Mm-hmm. So I think that sort of favors the Thunder going into Game 7. But I don't know. I can't see Westbrook and Harden, 2 max dudes, closing out Game 7 like that again.
The daggers from Chris Paul didn't stop after the game either, after he hit those 2 threes in Covington's eye. He said, quote, to Jared Greenberg, when it gets to clutch time, fourth quarter, some people built for it. Some people shy away from it, Trey. Ooh, is that a dagger in a Harden Westbrook eye right there?
Look, man, I said I'm not going to say anything bad about Chris Paul this year. He's been incredible. In his interview with Jared Greenberg, he also dropped a Dumb and Dumber quote. It was a piece de resistance talking to JG there. Chris Paul, though, he was incredible. It was like you never expect him to mess up in clutch time, since I'm saying only nice things right now, whereas Westbrook just honestly gave the game away. That was the problem. It's like, yeah, Harden should have had the ball, because then it would have meant that Westbrook didn't have the ball, and it would mean Westbrook was passing the ball to somebody who could actually catch it. That was bad Russ right there. We've talked about good Russ and bad Russ for basically the entirety of his career, and that's the worst possible Westbrook you could have. The short jumper, a couple of bad turnovers, and just not being able to get the ball to Harden. I mean, SGA was doing a pretty good job of denying him up top. I thought D'Antoni could have probably done something a little bit more spicy to actually free Harden to get a look, but he can't go that long without touching the ball in clutch time. I mean, maybe he doesn't have the greatest clutch reputation, though apparently you just got to hit a couple of shots in a game in a first-round series to get that clutch reputation. But I would still rather him have the ball. I would still rather Harden have the ball, because he was playing hard too. I thought he was giving it on defense. Chris Paul was certainly scoring on him, but there were a couple of times when Harden would stand him up and force a pass from CP3. And then he had that nice save where he threw the ball off Danilo Gallinari. He had the energy. He was ready to go. Just couldn't get the ball for whatever reason.
Yeah, Lee, what do you think? This is really the Rockets' worst nightmare here.
Yeah.
I mean, going to a game 7, had this game, they could have closed it out. They were up 6, like Tass said. And then you've got, the Westbrook CP3 dynamic here, these two guys being traded for each other. And it was the Rockets who you look at it go, oh, yeah, this is for the immediate. This is the short-term upside, because we get Westbrook. That'll get us through a couple series here. And then here they are. They could lose to Chris Paul. And, they gave up all those assets to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, Trey's right there. Like, James Harden hustled last night. He played hard. And on defense, he was the only guy that Chris Paul couldn't kind of shake off, I thought. But in those last critical moments, the big difference, I thought, between Harden and Chris Paul was Chris Paul demanded the ball and kept the ball to himself and was like, I'm taking this team home. And James Harden didn't do that. And I thought that's very, very important, because Westbrook was absolutely awful last night, but no one forced him to give the ball up. James Harden didn't say, give me the ball. Oh, this is my team. I should be the one who, if we lose this, James Harden wants to go out firing, not having Russell Westbrook throw the ball away and then take those bad shots. So I think that's a key point here, that James Harden had a fantastic 44 minutes of this game, 45 minutes. And those hustle plays where he's saving the ball from out of bounds, giving his team an extra possession there. Those are incredibly important in those moments. But then, and Chris Vernon sort of pointed out, there's one play where he is just strolling down casually right near at the end. And I just think that is not a good look for him. And again, I refer back to Chris Paul, who had the ball and he basically kept it for the entire 24 seconds at the end, because he's like, we're going on my watch if we go out, and he'll take that loss.
Sure.
But instead, he steps up, hits those 2 massive threes. That second one over Covington, I believe it was, as time was running out, gave him a little tap on the butt to sort of say, hey, what'd you think of that? I mean, that was just huge. And this came after Chris Paul almost blew it for his team by giving away a ridiculous technical foul, because he was wrong on the call for one, and then he knew by throwing his hands, that's going to get you a tee. That almost cost his team. Instead, he was like, all right, I screwed up. Now it's my responsibility here to take my team home. And he did that. So this was a weird game. I thought it sort of felt to me that the Rockets were in control, and they just had to play a last couple of decent minutes, and they win this series and they move on. Instead, now they're going to the worst situation possible for them, which is a game 7. And I mean, it's going to be a great game. The Rockets is by no means out of it or anything like that. But they have to clean up how they close out games, whereas the Thunder are the best team at finishing. Chris Paul has shown all season long that what he does in those fourth quarters and in those clutch moments is win the game for his team, and he did it again last night.
So it sounds like if you're laying a little bit of blame for this Rockets loss, you're looking at Harden a bit more than Westbrook.
Well,
because you're saying go get the damn ball. Yeah,
no, but see,
shouldn't be a shocker from Lily. Yeah,
but see, I don't want it to be like, oh well, I have a bias against Harden. But in those moments, that's when your star player has, like, people are saying, well, Westbrook had the ball. Harden's got to go up to him and say, give me the ball, man. This is my team. You've been terrible today, and he didn't do that. He was kind of placid in that moment, and again, I think I've been fair to say James Harden has been very good in this series. At most of the time. And he was very good yesterday. But in that critical moment, the difference was Chris Paul didn't let anyone else sort of have the ball for his team. James Harden was kind of okay with Russell Westbrook doing it. And Westbrook made 2 bad passes late. He made, of those 7 turnovers, I would say 6 of them were just terrible passes.
Yes.
Like not even close to people in the open court and in transition. So he was having a bad game. And again, that's the moment. Like that, Danilo Gallinari actually had a very good game for the Thunder. And in that third quarter got hot. And you could see he was demanding the ball. But Chris Paul was still like, at the end of the game, it's my time. And,
but James Harden wants somebody else to help him out. That's why they went and got Chris Paul. That's why Russell Westbrook is there. And it's not like he didn't touch the ball at the end of the game. I know we're looking at Russell Westbrook because those turnovers were horrendous. But James Harden did have a chance to win this thing. He took a shot. It's tied at 100, 40 seconds left. It's James Harden time. And he clanked the 3. Mm-hmm. And then so next possession, that was Westbrook time. And so they were sort of alternating, when they were down.
It can't be like
6
that.
Points.
Well, to me, it can't be like that, though. No,
that's what you want James Harden to shoot every time down there.
No, he's saying it's 15 seconds left. You're down 2 in a game, in a playoff game. I mean, the best guy on your team should have the ball. I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
Yeah.
Like, was the ball supposed to come back to Harden? Was Westbrook kicking it to Covington? Was Harden then coming around the top? There was tons of time left. It wasn't like there's 2 seconds left when Westbrook threw the ball away. So maybe it was coming back to Harden. Play.
No. Yeah, Harden said that Westbrook was going to drive, and he made a decision that, he was cut off. So he made a pass, and it was a very, very bad pass. We've seen this play out with Harden before. He's not going to, he's not going to shoot every time down the stretch. I think that's.
But why not, though? I mean, look the looks that they got and the possessions they had. I mean, surely you want the ball in James Harden's hand then. If I'm Mike D'Antoni, I'm like, James, drive in, shake you off your defender, get a step back through, whatever you feel comfortable with. This is your team, man. We pay you the big bucks. You go out and finish it off. Like what you see from Chris Paul, like what you see from Damian Lillard, like what you see from Jimmy Butler. That's the guy you should be on this team.
I know, but we're forgetting Harden. They're down 6 points. Harden's got the ball. I'm sorry, they're up 6 points. 4 minutes left. It looks like it's over. Harden misses a 3. Then a minute later, turns it over. Then about a minute later, misses a 3. It's not like he wasn't touching it. They were just taking turns because they're the 2 max dudes on the team. I don't know. If you look back in Harden's history, he's not winning series on his own. That's just not how it works. So I don't know why you would expect it to happen yesterday.
Well, but again, he can't shy away from that moment. Again, when Westbrook's having such a bad game there, it's got to be like, well, this is my team. I'm going to do it. And that's I think the difference right now. And I just think if he misses those shots, you got to forget about them and take the next one. James Harden, we see all the time. He can beat anyone. He can drive inside. He can get that shot off anytime he wants. But if he doesn't have the ball in his hand and he doesn't demand it, then he can't then sort of look around and hope one of his other teams gets him over the line. It's sure from time to time, but in that moment when the series is on the line, I thought it was very disappointing to see. And people think that I hate James Harden. I don't hate him at all. He's a fantastic player. He's incredibly talented. But in that moment, in that key moment, he went missing, I thought, and that's just bad for him.
I hate to ask this, but would the Rockets have closed out this series if Westbrook, never came back? Eric Gordon, I mean, the sub there late. I mean, Eric Gordon was playing pretty damn well. It was a big part of that little Rockets run. And then, Westbrook's in there. And I don't know. It's possible, I think, with how close these games are and how rough Russ has looked. I mean, look.
He's looked bad.
The Rockets, Harden, and Westbrook, for that matter, if they don't win this game 7 and move on past the Thunder here, they will never – I don't think they'll ever hear the end of it. I mean, it will be a wrap on them, like playoff potential. And almost fairly. You could almost then never be like, oh, yeah, they're a title – the Rockets are supposed to be a title contender. Not just getting past a very scrappy, which we all had this going, long this series, but still they had chances to close them out and they sort of lack that killer mentality. And maybe it's, some of them Harden shying away from it a little bit. Maybe it's Russ forcing things. Maybe it's D'Antoni checked out because he's already moving on. I don't know, but this would be bad, right, Trey? Like if they don't pull this out in game 7, this would be very, very bad.
So it sounds like you're saying it'll be a huge mark for the positive if they do pull out a game 7 winning against Chris Paul. It goes either way, right? Yeah. I mean, of course they'll get crushed if they lose a first round series, even though it feels like a lot of people were picking the Thunder and saying that they were basically the favorites. It's a story. But yeah, I don't know. James Harden at one point set the playoff record for turnovers in an elimination game, and his reputation hasn't really recovered from that, but he goes out and he scores 35 a game during the regular season, and he convinces you they got a chance. And honestly, home court advantage is real. The home team has won every single game of this series, so the Rockets got to be feeling good going into Game 7.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if the Rockets continue to drive the ball, they'll win Game 7 because that's what they do. They can score easily. They get into the paint so easily. Steven Adams was okay yesterday, but he hasn't been great in this series. But I just find that whenever the Rockets just continually drive the ball, they get clean looks and they get so many opportunities to score easily on the Thunder. And I think that's what they should focus on in Game 7. It's going to be a tight game. Game 7s tend to be. Go inside, just keep attacking the paint, because the Thunder defense is not good. It has not been good in this series, particularly on the perimeter. And they've got Gordon who can get inside. Harden, of course, he can get inside. And then Westbrook, I mean, that's the one thing he can do is he can get in the paint. He wasn't sort of able to finish all that well last night, but he can get inside, keep attacking, try to get guys in foul trouble. I think that is their key to winning this Game 7.
Yeah. What I love about this bubble schedule is that this game goes tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
I love that we can get right to it because, when it's the regular playoffs and we're traveling around, there's sometimes 2 or 3 days between some of these games. And it's by the, you're caught up in other games and then, now it's Game 7, days later. I love that it's tomorrow. I absolutely love it. And I have no clue. I mean, I was with Trey. He convinced me Rockets in 7. So that's still in play. A lot of you guys, I think, had Thunder in 7. So, we're going to find out here, but I'll tell you what, if it's a close game, that's going to favor Chris Paul and the Thunder because they've proved it all season long. And as we talked about, the Rockets with their star players can come up short at times in clutch moments. Well,
we got John Schumann on the horn here.
Okay, great.
He's listening in. So Johnny, do your work. pull up a Schumann stat, my man, and find out James Harden's stats game by game, because I know it gets worse and worse as the series goes on, especially from the 3-point line. He scored and he was controlling the game in Game 6, but he didn't shoot well from the 3-point line. And so I definitely agree. He's got to go in and drive and score because the 3-point shot, I don't know what it is, but as series go on, the 3-point percentage gets worse and worse throughout his career. So I want to see that Game 7 percentage, and it's gonna be real ugly. These two teams hate each other. They absolutely despise each other. Schroeder hating this guy, and this guy hating Tucker, hating everybody. They absolutely will get some texts on Wednesday night, and I'm okay with that. But also, I thought Dennis Schroeder almost gave this game away in sort of the middle quarters. He was just horrendous. He was the opposite of what a point guard should be. He was giving Steven Adams the ball on a break. He was not looking, at the right guy. Gallinari was hot and he passed him over. He was just real bad. I don't know if he was thrown off because of the punch to PJ Tucker's testicles, but he looked like a totally different player from the first part of this series. So the Thunder got away with it, not having Schroeder play really well. And the other guys chipping in, obviously. Hey, that's why the series is 7 games. It's pretty evenly matched.
I mean, we talked about in Game 5, Gallinari was a no-show.
Yeah.
He lost his shoe. That's all he did in Game 5. And then was huge in Game 6. And Dort hitting shots. I mean, that was big too. I mean, he's going to be left wide open. He has to hit a couple of them. And he did. And I thought it was pretty telling. Again, this speaks to what you talked about, Trey, with CP3 being a little bit more confident, right, in trying to build guys up. He's slipping in that post-game interview again. He's talking about, I'd go to war with Lou Dort till the wheels fall off with this guy. He's trying to keep the kid's confidence. He's got to hit some of these because it can't be 4-on-5 basketball out there. So, again, just Chris Paul with that sly little leadership there, sly little digs at Westbrook and Harden, because he even threw in the Damian Lillard line. I mean, it was a pretty good performance in Game 6, and then after talking to Jared Greenberg for sure. What were you going to say, Lee?
He was whacking nuts as well again last night. He gave Westbrook a little
he did
one.
whack a nut, and then Trey and I on Twitter got to figure out the rankings. If you're, does it go flick and then tap and then honk and then squeeze? And Trey did a great job. I mean, I don't know if you have it in front of you there, Trey, but that was unbelievable. And I agreed with most of it. It was interesting where you had honk and squeeze. Though those are different, right? Because it's the force and the duration of it. Do you have that tweet in front of it? Take us through that.
Yeah, okay. I don't even know how many of these I put in here. Way too many. But my order of most pleasant to least pleasant, nut shots, graze, flick, honk, tap, tug, elbow swipe, elbow strike, squeeze, uppercut, kick, knee, stomp. People were very worried about a stomp. You do not want to be in a stomp situation.
Yeah.
Even Chris Paul won't go that far.
Yeah.
So the only one was like, oh, do you have squeeze in the right spot? Because you have it after elbow strike. But
for me, a squeeze is going to have a lot of, I almost said girth behind it, but I actually think strength behind it. You're really getting in there and holding on for a long time. Whereas a honk, you're just like, boop.
Yeah. Duration and force. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a big difference maker. Okay. Yeah, but I guess what was Westbrook? What was Chris Paul's last name?
It was kind of a graze, really, because he kind of got him from behind. But and Westbrook's reaction sort of made it seem like it was worse than it was. But I think, like most of us, any sort of attention down there unexpected, you tend to sort of flinch pretty strongly about it, because I didn't think it was one of those a real cracker.
Do you think that was an elbow graze?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a graze.
Okay.
Yeah, but man, someone's nuts are getting ejected. I think in Game 7. I mean, PJ Tucker, man,
nuts are getting ejected.
I just hope PJ Tucker can make it through Game 7. He's had a rough series. He's always on the ground. It seems to be. He's always getting whacked and hit, and his nuts have come under some fire as well. So just let's keep the nuts, keep everyone's nuts clean, please, for Game 7.
Okay. Not a Manscaped ad yet, but we're very close.
Yeah, when we were talking about grays, I thought we were talking about Manscaped hair color. Shave those grays down there.
Jeez. No. All right. So anything else from this game before we move on?
Less flopping. I want less flopping in Game 7. We're getting some serious flopping.
Don't hold your breath on that one with some of these guys.
Come on, President of the Players Association. Less flopping, more shot making.
I will say the final foul that put Chris Paul to the line to hit his free throws to give them the lead, where we had the review, right? Because we had the challenge on whether it was a foul. I thought in real time that Chris Paul actually fouled himself. I don't know if I was the only one that thought this. There was like one angle where I saw that it looked like he's driving, and I thought maybe he didn't get hit by Covington or whoever, and then went like that, slapped his own arm. I'm like, oh, wow, that's next level. He's now fouling himself to sell it. Of course, then they show the replay and definitely was hooked, and it was the right call. And that's why it is a little alarming that the ball never got to Harden. They had about 4 minutes lead to draw up something to, hey, or him to say, no, I'm taking this shot. It was a little silly because they didn't call timeout after they made free throws, but they had all that time to obviously.
There was a lot of stoppages in that last couple of minutes there with balls going out of bounds and stuff. It took them far too long. I mean, that one James Harden did save. It felt like they were looking at that for 3 minutes. It's like, come on. I mean, Spiro, I think it was Spiro on the call. He was and Chris Webber, you could see immediately. Okay.
I believe it was BA, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, BA, excuse me. BA, yes.
Yeah, but they changed the clock as well. It was went from 40 seconds to 41. So they had to check and look, hey, his foot's good. Let's see what this clock says about things. You got to keep your times right, Lee.
That was an impressive save.
That was great, yeah.
That was huge. Him jumping out.
Murray didn't box out, and it cost his team a possession. So
yeah. All right, well, let's move to the other game from yesterday. Another great one. Jimmy Butler scores 40 as the Heat top the Bucks 115-104 for the 1-0 series lead. People that took the Heat in this series are feeling happy after game one because Jimmy Butler came to play. Lee, get us started.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different angles I think you could take with this game, but I think the most important one is how Jimmy Butler just closed it out. Once again, he just took his team on his shoulders, and Chris Middleton, he absolutely gave him a bath. Chris Middleton didn't have to have a shower after that game. He was as clean as a baby's bum because he was just honestly just watching Jimmy Butler score. It's like Jimmy Butler was just like, oh my God, I am going to eat this guy. I am going to eat him. He wasn't afraid at all. He wasn't uncomfortable. He wasn't pushed out of his position. Jimmy Butler was like, okay, great. I'm just going to score here. I might dunk it. I might hit a little mid-ranger. I might even hit a three. I'm not sure. But if Chris Middleton's on me, it makes no difference whatsoever to what type of shot I'm getting. And this now comes back to Coach Mike Budenholzer and what he's going to do to try to change the defensive assignment. Is he going to double him? Is he going to maybe put Giannis on him? Or because George Hill was on him for a little bit there, that made no difference whatsoever. So I think And Eric
No Bledsoe for the Bucks. We should point that out.
What's that? Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. No
Eric Randolph or Rudolph.
Yeah. But even if they did have Eric Bledsoe, Jimmy Butler's not afraid of him, I don't think either. But this is now the question about Mike Budenholzer, how he will adjust things on the defensive end and on the offensive end, because Giannis, the Miami Heat defense, I thought was incredible on Giannis. Every time he had the ball, there was either Crowder, either Iguodala, either Bam, whoever was there. Basically, every time Giannis had the ball, there was a body, there was somebody there new in his face, in his grill, never let him get comfortable. And the Bucks weren't able to overcome that. So a couple of big storylines there. But again, I think the most important one is how the team that won the game closed it out. They went to their leader. He got their buckets, hit shots, and took their team home. And then he had a great post game as well. He's hugging everyone. He's saying he's best friends with everyone. Jimmy's saying, "I'm not giving the ball to anyone. I told my teammates they're not giving the ball."
They said fine. I made a few shots and they said fine. Well, what a quote!
Oh my God! So Jimmy had it all. He had it on the court. He had it off the court, and of course he got the big win. And this one for the ones who picked the sexy upset, you're feeling pretty sexy this morning.
You are indeed. Yeah, Jimmy Butler scored 14 of his playoff career high 40 points in the fourth quarter there. 13 of 20 from the field, 12 of 13 from the line, which he, is one of the best in the league at getting there, and 2 for 2 from 3. He really feels like, to me, and I mean this with the utmost respect, Trey, Jimmy Butler feels like discount Kawhi Leonard. I mean, that's the way he's playing right now.
Yeah,
he's like, clutch. Any shot he wants, obviously brings it defensively. He's like a discount Kawhi to me. He's not quite Kawhi Leonard's level, but he's damn close.
Yeah, he was doing if he was doing a my player, he would have made his player exactly the same as Kawhi Leonard, but his skills would be a little bit down, but he turned up the media savvy, right? Like that's the difference, is that Kawhi's a little bit better on the court. Jimmy is way better off the court, but I picked the Bucks. I don't think this series is over, but I was regretting it hardcore watching Jimmy take over in a playoff game yet again. This guy's one of my 5 favorite players in the league, probably. I've loved him for a long time, and I had the gall to pick against him when this team is flowing and he's actually in charge. That was impressive, man. He put the team on his back. And it started with Chris Middleton pretty hot in the first half, and then Butler just eviscerated him. That was quite a performance. So now the Bucks got to figure something out. The good thing for them is that their adjustment should be pretty easy. Play Giannis more and have Giannis play better, because the Bucks outshot the Heat from 3. You should win that game, especially if you got the double MVP on your team. Giannis has to be better. He's got to play more. And maybe he's got to guard Jimmy Butler a little bit. Yeah. He said afterwards, why would you ask me if I wanted to guard Jimmy Butler? Like, he was shocked at even the idea of a defensive player of the year guarding the best player on the other team. I thought that was a little strange. I mean, Giannis isn't always guarding 2 guards, but maybe he could do it for a few minutes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think maybe the relationship or sort of the match with Mike Budenholzer isn't a good one, because if you had a hard-ass coach, he'd be telling Giannis to go guard Jimmy Butler for at least a possession or 2, or somebody who needs to get the most out of Giannis, or he'd be playing him 40 minutes a game. I think that's a situation that I don't know if it's going to be fixed. You say play Giannis more. Yeah, I know the whole internet is saying, stop playing 10, 11 guys. When Eric Bledsoe comes back, there's going to be 11 guys in this rotation. I don't think he's going to shrink it at all. Frank Mason played in this game.
Frank Mason the third?
Yeah, Frank Mason the third. Wesley Matthews Jr. or Senior. Who knows? There's all sorts of those suffixes on this team that I don't know if that's what Mike Budenholzer likes, but he just keeps throwing these guys out there. And it didn't matter that Giannis had some foul trouble early. That's not why he only played 36 minutes in this game. That's what Budenholzer does. He does it game after game after game, and his job is definitely on the line. I think if they get bounced here, despite them being on pace for a 60-plus win season, you got to get more out of Giannis. That's 100% true. He only had 1 basket in the fourth quarter, and it was sort of midway through the fourth. That was before it all broke down towards the end there. It was a lot of Chris Middleton, a lot of Brook at the end. And my big worry is they still don't know how they finish games in playoff games. And they got monstrous games from Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez. Those are going to come back to earth. Those shooting percentages are going to slow down. And the big worry is, you saw flashbacks of the Bucks versus the Raptors last year, where they don't know how to close things out. And you build a wall against Giannis, and other guys are going to have to make plays, and there's just not enough space out there. And I guess Bud was trying to get space by getting Chris Middleton some shots and getting Brook Lopez some shots there at the end of the game for Giannis to get free. but it ain't working. And so we still haven't even seen a really, really close game. I know it kind of came down to the wire, but it wasn't a possession-by-possession game. And that's the scary part for the Bucks. I still don't think they know how this thing ends. And they had, as Trey said, incredible shooting percentages from three-point land and incredible performances from their number 2 and number 3 guy. They got some big worries, some huge worries going into game 2.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It was similar to the Raptors beating them last year in terms of like just the job they did at shutting off, putting up the wall, whatever you want to call it, on Giannis. He only had 4 shots in the restricted area. And this, Lee, was not a lot of just Bam reasons, which we thought, we'll get matched up on him and maybe can hang. It was Jay Crowder. It was Iguodala. It was Jimmy Butler. They all saw time on him, and everybody. I mean, it was all focus on Giannis. But then when Giannis even got to the line, 4 for 12, that's brutal. I mean, you're not going to win a series shooting they shot like 53% from the free throw line and all the turnovers. You're not going to win a game or a series like that. And then I thought because of that, missing free throws, too many bodies anytime he got in there and couldn't get a nice shot up, that he started settling. I thought Giannis it was a close game, really close game still, 5:30 to go in the fourth quarter. So halfway through, he forced a brutal 3. And if you're the Heat, you are loving. You're like, go nuts, my man. You might hit it. It's fine. It's not even an ugly shot, but you're forcing that because you're a little worried about what's going on inside there. You can't get past us. And then even when you get to the line, you're missing. So I think that got in his head a little bit. And I think those comments about Budenholzer and being asked about the defensive, there was a lot of frustration there, of course, coming from Giannis. I thought that's how I took it. And maybe he was sort of sticking up for Budenholzer a little bit too, like how dare you ask me? I'll do anything my coach wants. But I'm with you guys. There was something there that he was pissed, probably at himself. His son is watching him there in the front row. That's got to hurt. Liam's there. And
I think he was gone by the fourth quarter. I think.
Oh, okay. Well, he didn't have to
problem.
He didn't have to see that. Oh, yeah. His little son was like, I don't want to watch this. This is brutal.
I think, though, again, the credit here deserves to go to Eric Spoelstra. He had that team ready and prepared. Great defensive game plan. And Pat Riley was in the stands last night for the game. And Jimmy Butler apparently said a big, appreciate you. And apparently Pat Riley, according to Sam Amick, said back, you're making my dreams come true or something like that. Pat Riley's won championships. He's been around forever. And but this is his making his dreams come true. But again, this is the Miami Heat kind of blueprint. They're always tough. They're always defensively prepared. And no player on the Miami Heat, you remember when Jason Capono came from the Heat to the Raptors and said, well, he played under Pat Riley, so he knows how to play defense. And I think that's just the way, that's the MO for the Miami Heat. It's like, you've got to learn to play defense. And if you play defense, you're going to be on our team. And everyone who came out onto the floor, and some of those smaller guys as well, like Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, not big guys, but they just know where to be. They know how to, what position they're supposed to be in. They get back in transition and they do their role for the team, even though they're not, the big intimidating defenders like they do have on that team. So that's the thing with Miami. They know that if they can slow down that Bucks offense and keep the game tight, they've got a closer at the other end. And it played out exactly that way last night.
Yeah, and I will say Middleton, I thought, did a good job on Duncan Robinson at times when he was matched up early in that, taking him out of his rhythm and sticking to him. But then Tyler Hero in the fourth quarter hit some big shots again. And this is time and time again here. He hit a big 3 like earlier in the fourth quarter. And then with 1:35 to go off of a huge, I think it was Bam with like the tap out offensive rebound, the Tyson Chandler there. It found its way to Hero, I think, over in the corner, and he splashed that. The kid is not afraid of the big moment. And they want a shooter out there. You got Jimmy cooking. And then Dragic had another great game. We haven't even gotten to him. I heard Simmons and Russillo on Sunday night's podcast talking about, I thought it was interesting. Do the Celtics, shocker, Simmons was talking about the Celtics. Do the Celtics have the best big 3 left in the bubble? Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Akemba. I was like, okay, maybe there's something to that. I wonder, though, with the way Dragic is playing right now, FIBA Dragic, the Dragon, is it actually the Heat with Butler, Bam, and Dragic, who had 27, Bam with 12 and 17, and had some beautiful assists, 6 assists. He bullied Giannis at times. I don't know. It maybe is them when Dragic plays at this level because he's been phenomenal this entire bubble run. What's your take on that, Tess?
They've been very good. I don't know. I have to big 3 it. They've been great. I think they found a nice little yin and yang. Dragic is more of the first quarter man. Well, Jimmy Butler definitely took some shots in the first quarter, but they all know who's closing that thing out. And so they've got they've got a nice balance. But I don't know. Have you done the big three, look up, look down at each team?
I was going through them in my head. And again, when I was listening to the podcast, I was like, yeah, maybe it is the Celtics. I mean, those are 3 20-point per game scorers. A couple of those guys bring it defensively. Kemba's not going to give it to you on that end that much. But I don't know. Watching the Heat, I was like, well, hold on. Butler playing like this, Bam playing like this, obviously an all-star and is impressive on both ends. And then Dragic at this level. Now that's the thing. I mean, can Dragic keep doing this? This is the best Dragic has played since, again, FIBA Dragic. I'm convinced. Like for this stretch, for this.
Well,
long.
the Bucks need Bledsoe back. He's going to help huge against Dragic, right? 27 for Dragic, and he was just getting them too easily. He was hitting a bunch of. Once he got in the rhythm, he was hitting those weird floaters, right? And it's like he's going to take the shots that you kind of don't expect him to take. You know, maybe a 12-footer that's everybody else would try and get to the rim, or maybe pull it out for 3. He's just keeping the Bucks on their toes and just throwing them off kilter a little bit. So. Bledsoe can have his problems in the playoffs, and he's not always there offensively, but he can bring it defensively, and he can make it a lot harder on Goran Dragic. That'd be a nice adjustment for the Bucks to have one of their all defensive players back as well.
I'm trusting Dragic over. I'm trusting Middleton to have a similar game, or even Brook Lopez, who is on fire, and he's pulling out this, and he's 8 of 10. He looked cool. He had a good half, and he slowed down. And Chris Middleton, same thing. He slowed down too. I'm taking Dragic over those dudes. I don't think that's even a question right now. And they just don't got it on the Milwaukee side. They really don't. But let's stick to my man John Schumann's stats here. Let's get back to that for a second.
Do we have to?
And John Schumann. Yeah, why not? Okay. You want to talk about Ryan Russillo and Bill Simmons instead? Is that what you want to talk about? Let's talk about John
Let's
Schumann.
hear some weird stat Schumann's got for us. What's he got?
Yeah. The big three is no, he didn't send that. That was
the big three is Schumann, Pelton, and
Haberstroh.
Yeah, Haberstroh, sure.
Yeah,
Hollinger.
John Schumann is
it's gotta be Hollinger.
John Schumann is too smart. He sent effective field goal percentages over James Harden's career, game 1 through 7. It's pretty even. So I told him to dumb it down a little bit. Let's just go 3-point percentage. And James Harden, it's only 3 games, but his worst 3-point percentage is in game 7. It's 28.6%. He picks it up at the free throw line and in 2-point land. And that's why his effective field goal percentage is similar. He was 1 of 6 in the fourth quarter of game 6 there from the floor. And it's going to be a chuck fest. He's got to get into 2-point land.
All right. Okay, so back here to the Heat Bucks. The one other thing from this was Joel Embiid tweeting his love for the Jimmy Butler there, Trey. He's tweeting left and right how much he's loving the Jimmy Butler show.
And he should be. Jimmy Butler, I mean, we're what? The Heat have played 5 games in the playoffs so far. So it's still very early in the playoffs, but it's between him and Tatum for me, who's been the best player in the Eastern Conference playoffs so far. And Jimmy just does it year in and year out. And you saw the way that things went for the Sixers. What they were missing was Jimmy Butler. So I kind of feel like right now is the perfect time to fire up a top 5 because this is going to be relating to Jimmy Butler. So let's top 5. Joel Embiid was loving Jimmy Butler last night. So that brings us to today's top 5. Here are the top 5 teams that wish they had Jimmy Butler right now. At number 5, the Houston Rockets. Feels weird, but I went back and looked at some of the rumors from last year when Jimmy was going to be a free agent, and apparently the Rockets were very confident that they would be able to sign Jimmy Butler to pair with James Harden and Chris Paul. They were going to do it with Chris Paul there as well. Can you even imagine those 3 guys on the same team? There would be a lot of sniping at each other, and it definitely feels like there wouldn't be enough basketballs for the 3 of them, but it's interesting to think about. What a crazy team that would be. Jimmy, obviously, a Texas native as well.
Yeah, I love the idea of a James with a Jimmy, too.
Yeah, you would never get him mixed up because, as we know, Jimmy Butler, his name is Jimmy. Don't call me James.
Don't call him James. That's right.
At number 4, the LA Clippers. It was originally going to be Jimmy Butler pairing with Kawhi Leonard out in LA before the Clippers figured out a trade with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And as a guy who has always been on the Jimmy Butler side of the Jimmy Butler versus Paul George debate, this has been an incredible playoffs for that take. I have a feeling that Kawhi and Jimmy Butler would be a pretty tough team to beat out there in the West. Here's where it gets sad. At number 3, the the Minnesota Timberwolves. You had him. You traded him after he led your franchise to their only playoff berth of the past 16 years. Guys, all he wanted to do was work hard and be the man. You should have let him. Whew. I mean, it was a disaster with the way things ended in Minnesota, but maybe you should have made the call to devote a little more resources to Jimmy Butler rather than an Andrew Wiggins. I know they were still enamored with Wiggins at that point, blah, blah, blah. You had Jimmy Butler and now you don't. Your team has the number 1 draft pick this year. At number 2, the Philadelphia 76ers. You had him. You let him go. You paid Tobias Harris instead. Guys, all he wanted was to work hard and be the man. You should have let him.
That's all he wants.
That's all he wants. And at number 1, of course, doubles. You drafted him. Number 30. He won most improved player, proving, hey, I can improve. Then he became an all-star twice. He was just a boy, not even 28 years old. And you traded him. All he wanted was to work hard and be the man. You should have let him. This could be the Bulls out there. The Heat wear black and red. They play defense, and Jimmy Butler brings them home. That was the Bulls' MO when Jimmy Butler was in town, but he was too mean. Dwayne Wade came in from Miami. He said, hey, man, it doesn't have to be like this. You can go somewhere else. And then we had a long journey to Jimmy Butler finally making his way to the Heat, and it has worked out exactly as they imagined. Could have been you, Chicago.
Wow.
He just wanted to be coached by Fred Hoiberg, didn't he? He just said, coach me harder.
Coach me harder. Hey,
Yeah.
we should practice more.
Yeah.
We should try harder. No. Get out of here. Get out of here. We're bringing in the punch clock.
Give us Chris Dunn instead. That's who we want.
A related tweet to that great top 5. I saw Mina Kimes tweet last night. Jimmy Butler is the person on every reality show who says, I'm not here to make friends on the first episode. I love that, which is if you watch like those crappy reality shows, The Bachelor, Bachelorette, it's exactly who Butler is in that first episode. He's here not to make friends. He's here to win and work hard. But then, unfortunately, those people, they go far, Trey, but they never win. Those people. So I don't know what that says for Jimmy Butler in the Heat. Maybe they get to the final.
I mean, that's true. And we'll see if they actually win the championship. Not likely, but
Right.
I mean, the Heat are trending the right way. And when Jimmy Butler leaves your team, look what happens. Look what's happened to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They haven't been back to the playoffs. Look what happened to the 76ers. They fired their coach. They're way worse. Look what happened to the Bulls. They're on their 3rd coach since Jimmy Butler left town, and they've just been picking number 7 the entire time. He might be a jerk. You might not like having him around all the time, but the entire message of Jimmy Butler is, if we work hard, our team is going to win. And that's the entire message of the Miami Heat, and that's why it's worked out there. Other teams, other organizations need to say, hey, if we work hard, we can win. It's not a hard thing to figure out. You got to deal with the personalities, you know?
And
That's
we got Joel Embiid, as you said, the subtweet of his own team, basically saying, hey, that guy's really good who's playing in the playoffs. He used to play on our team. That's messed up. You can't feel good in that organization right now whatsoever with what's going on. Your best player, call Ben Simmons your best player, whatever. One of your franchise guys talking smack about your team on the tweets, not so good. You know, putting their business out on the streets, not so good. I'll say this about Andrew Wiggins. You talked about obviously him leaving the Timberwolves. Have you seen Andrew Wiggins' new shot form? He's the new Splash Brother. He's just splashing threes. I'm not buying it, but he was splashing threes in a video. New shot form. That elbow way in.
Oh, that's
looking
good.
different. Yeah, take a look, see, and watch Andrew Wiggins with his shirt off hitting threes.
Hold on. It sounds like you're interested in buying some property or maybe a Subway sandwich shop on Wiggins Island. You want some? You want to your own franchise?
I'm subletting my place. I made that stupid mistake of buying it once upon a time and never again.
Yeah, that's true. All right. We got to take a break. Still lots more to come here on today's show. But first, guys, as we all know, the Jazz and the Nuggets are going to Game 7, baby, tonight. Nothing easy. So it's still very, very possible that we may see an NBA playoff matchup between the Clippers and the Nuggets. That's why our homies at manscaped.com have partnered with us to make sure your Nuggets are as safe as possible if that matchup does indeed go down later this week. Now, I don't know about you guys. I've never called my balls my Nuggets. I don't mind it. And I was actually trying to think of another NBA nickname, team name that works for the old testes, right? My Kings, Regal. My 2 Pistons, powerful. My Knicks? No, thank you. Not with Manscaped's Lawnmower 3.0, the best hygiene tool for the modern man. Because of their ceramic blade and skin-safe technology, your snags will be reduced, your dolens diminished. No nicks on my dicks. MSG doesn't stand for Madison Square Garden in this ad read. No, Lee. My MSG stands for Manscaped Smooth Guaranteed. Guys, get 20% off and free shipping with the code TheAthletic20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use the code TheAthletic20. Take your grooming game to the next level. Take your grooming game to MSG. Manscaped Smooth Guaranteed. All right. Let's get to the up-down report.
Prepare your tubes. It's the up-down report.
Oh, yeah. We are into the up-down report. It has been so long. First one, guys. Pelicans forward Brandon Ingram was named the NBA's most improved player on Monday. The Plastic Man 2.0, really trying to force that, received 42 first-place votes from the global panel of 100 sports writers and broadcasters. He earned 326 total points. He just edged out Bam Adebayo, who finished in second with 295 points. He got 38 first-place votes. Very, very close here. Guys, are you up or down on Brandon Ingram winning most improved? Lee, throw your thumbs up or down.
I'm up on it. Yeah, it was down to him or Bam to win it. And Ingram did have a very good season. So a good award for him to win. And I think the voting reflected just how close it was. You know, you could have made a strong case for both of those guys. They were both all-stars. In fact, the top four guys made the all-star game. And Pascal, who finished seventh, I think it was, he also made the all-star game. So, and Trae Young, he also got some votes. So there was a lot of all-stars in this voting for most improved. I don't know how you feel about that, Skeetsy, but I'm glad Ingram does get a little bit of recognition here because, he came into the league. He was the number 2 pick and he had high expectations. Things didn't really work out all that well for him in Los Angeles. Gets to a new city, a new team. He's a little bit more mature. And the offense basically was like, you're our guy on offense. And he responded well. So I'm happy for him to get that. Now it's what can he add to his game? You know, can he get better? Can he become a bit more of a playmaker, better defensively? That's what's really I'm going to be looking forward now to see in these next couple of years.
It's important to note that the bubble games didn't count in this vote either, right? You know, all those seeding games and stuff like that, they were not taken into consideration. It was prior to the March 11th or 12th, whatever it was, shutdown. And I think that actually helped Ingram's case because he wasn't that great, really, for the most part there in the bubble setting. But what do you think, Trey? Thumbs up or thumbs down on BI?
I voted for Brandon Ingram to pick up most improved, so I'm up on this. But I do wonder if you were including the seeding games, would Bam have been the guy?
I think so.
I kind of think so, too. You know, he's picked up a lot of steam as a guy who could have been a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I guess it depends. There's a lot of good centers defensively, but he could make an all-defensive team. And he's been instrumental to the Heat looking like a finals contender so far down there in the bubble. Meanwhile, Ingram was scoring some points, but the Pelicans didn't do so well. And there were times where you felt a little bit like BI had some tunnel vision, just trying to get some shots up rather than moving the ball around. There's obviously questions now about how him and Zion are going to fit together. Kind of ludicrous considering they are both still so early in their careers, can figure some things out. But I think if you add in those couple of weeks down in Orlando, Bam's probably the guy.
What do you think, Tess?
Yeah, I'm going thumbs up. I also took Brandon Ingram, but yeah, it came down to these two guys, and it was. I guess I was just a little bit more impressed with where Brandon Ingram came from as far as being in LA. The reputation was down low for him, and yeah, he was traded for Anthony Davis there, and just jumped up obviously in people's minds. While Bam Adebayo, he was a backup, and then finally got his starting job. And I think basketball nerds knew he was going to be good. Obviously, no one knew he was going to be this good and this early. So yeah, this is great. It's just picking between your two kids. I mean, they both were great this season. So I think the voters got it right in terms of the guys at the top.
Right. It was very close, like I said. But you think it sounds like, and I agree with you, like Ingram benefited from a bit more of a narrative here, right? Which comes into play with MIP. Like the narrative being he was on the Lakers. He's on, one of the marquee teams. He's not living up maybe to expectations, being a high draft pick, and then is packaged in the ED deal. And people are like, is he even like going to be a guy anymore in this league? Or is he going to be a role player? And then is like suddenly a 24 point per game scorer. I think he's helped out by that. where it's a little more of a sexy narrative than the Bam, just like getting more minutes, getting more opportunity, and turning into an incredible player. I mean, you're right, Tass. Like suddenly this guy is like their fulcrum of their offense at times. You know, we talked about how he's all season long about maybe he's their most important player. As great as Jimmy Butler is, maybe he's their most important player. But yeah, I'm not upset with BI winning this. I looked it up, by the way. 6 games for Ingram down in the bubble. Under 20 points per game, shot 42% from the floor, 5 boards, 3 assists. So the numbers were a lot worse than what he had in the regular season prior to the shutdown. Anything to add there, Lily? I thought you were about to say something else.
No, I'm actually, there's a couple of tweets or comments being fired here. John Schumann says Trey's dog would have voted for yams at a bio. And then Sarah Gray's going, LOL, John Schumann, perfect wordplay. So the fans are just firing the pun gun here. It's crazy.
And the dog days of the season is crazy.
I can't wait to do a second top 5 later in the show. Top 5 Schumann comments from this episode. All right, second one. The Charlotte Hornets unveiled some new jerseys on Monday. I don't know if we have some photos here. Yeah, we do, JD. Good stuff for everybody joining us on YouTube. The new look features double pinstripes. What do they mean? On the jerseys, similar to what the franchise used from 97 to 2002. This time around, the pinstripes are just one color, okay? So teal on the white Charlotte Association jerseys and white on the teal Hornets icon jerseys. And you're seeing them here. Got purple used as the trim. So up or down on these Hornets new-ish jerseys. I mean, they're sort of old, new, but what do you think, Trey?
I think I'm going to be in the minority on this, but I got to go sideways. These are good because everybody loves the teal Hornets jerseys. You know, it's basically the easiest thing to possibly do. Bring back the pinstriped Hornets jerseys and you're going to get a thumbs up. But I think they botched it a little bit. Not enough purple. This to me is the worst version of the pinstripe jerseys that we've seen so far. I would have liked to see more color. It just doesn't feel right to me with a little bit more modern font. You know, the old Hornets jerseys had those serif fonts and it looked like something that you would find on a typewriter. These are very stingery, I guess you would say. You know, you got like a little thing sticking off the thing. It just looks a little bit too modern compared to the throwback jerseys. I don't think they found the sweet spot. That's the key right now, is finding your retro look that works in 2020. And this, for me, it's like a 6.5 out of 10.
Ooh, okay. Tass, what do you think?
I think you just got to go back to your originals. I think every team right now is looking for a classic jersey that they don't have to change year in and year out. And I think just like the Atlanta Hawks just did, they went back to some old school looks. The home and away for the Hornets should be their old ones. They don't need to double pinstripe it to change it up. This is their most popular era for a reason. The home and away should be absolutely the same. I don't see why you would even change it. Go right back to it, and I think you will achieve what like the Bulls have had to do and not had to change their jerseys year in and year out. That's what every team should be striving for, and I think they would have got it if they went back to the LJ, Alonzo Mourning, Muggsy Bogues, Rex Chapman days. Just go back to those. What are you waiting for? I just don't think why do they need to change it? It's something that they're going to change again the next year. I think it was close, but it was over tweaked. IMO.
Okay, what do you think, Lee?
Yeah, I'm up. They're fine. They're not too offensive. I get what the other guys are saying there. Like, they don't seem perfect, but they don't seem terrible either. Charlotte, just they've got a really nice brand, a nice name there, nice colors. They don't need to do too much. I just want to know, why do they release it now? Why do it now when the playoffs are on? We've got some big storylines. Like, don't you want to get a little bit more juice closer to the season? Perhaps, I don't know. It just seems weird to me. It's like, hey,
sell those jerseys, man.
I guess
just like what the Hawks did.
But it's, I know, but it's like we got 4 months until the next season. We're like, hey, we're getting some new jersey. Like, okay.
Hey man, we're talking about the Hornets right now. It's the playoffs.
But it's like deep into the show, you know, and it's not a great thing for the Hornets.
We didn't lead the show.
It's in the B block for sure. Second one,
Like, I want to either hate something or just be passionately in love with it. At the moment, I'm just kind of like, yeah, cool, okay, man. That, you know, I'm not like, oh my god, that's the greatest jersey I've ever seen. So
what if they made their original jerseys their home and away jerseys?
Yeah, I mean, bring them back.
We'd lead the show with that. Like a lot closer to those. Those are their best colors, their best time of their lives, man. Go back to your teenage years, your college days. That was their best look.
Yeah, well, if they get Kelly Tripucka to come back as well for the unveiling, then fine. Yeah, the big starter jacket and everything, and the big crazy hair. I mean, that's fine. Do all that, but
aren't those
Cody
original
Zeller is
jerseys the
close
ones
as
you're
possible.
talking about, Tass? Like they were designed by like a famous designer. I don't know, Trey, if you can help me out.
Alexander Julian.
Is that correct? Yeah.
He said, whatever we do, we can have pinstripes on top, but not on bottom. Got to keep those plain shorts. I always think that's such a weird thing to have just stripes up top, but the bottoms are plain. Apparently, that's what the Hornets are doing as well with this. So kudos to sticking to the plan.
This is the first full redesign for the Hornets since the team rebranded from the Bobcats way back in 2014. Because there's another jersey still to come, and then Charlotte is keeping their statement edition jersey from last year. If you remember, it's the purple one. Trey, you like the purple with the big CHA across the front of it.
Cha.
So that one
Cha.
will be staying, and I think we have a city one coming. I can never association, icon, statement, and city. I think are your 4 jerseys. And I think they're all going to have the Jordan brand this time, the little Jordan logo on it, the little Jumpman logo, I guess that's what I should say. All right, next thing here. The NBA has warned teams that owners and senior basketball executives, along with the players' families, must adhere to proper decorum at playoff games on the campus. The memo stated, no profane or objectionable language or coming onto the court during games. The rules also disallow conversations with game officials, and everything will be interpreted broadly and strictly. Per the memo, saw this by way of Woj. So, up or down on this NBA warning here, Tass, for all of these owners and executives and families. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't want to be a rules Robert here, but I think you have to lay down the rules in this unprecedented situation. It's just so strange. You saw Giannis's girlfriend and son there courtside. I mean, they're so close to the action. Right. It is like, little Liam can take a little jog onto the floor if he really wanted. And it's so strange. Would it be really odd for us to just think it's normal? I mean, because there is no barrier, there is nothing there. I just think you kind of have to set the rules here to make sure Mariah and Liam don't go give Giannis a hug post game. I think you just got to lay down the law, and it sort of makes sense because of how weird things are, like fans and family with folding chairs feet away from the floor. And it was interesting to see this morning. I read the Athletics' Joe Varden transcribed what security guards were saying to each other pre-game, because this was the first time, the first day where the families were there, and they were saying to each other, all right, we got to go up and talk to these families and lay down the law with them. and he was eavesdropping, Joe Varden was, no doubt. He shouldn't have been in on that conversation, but that's what reporters do. So well done there, Joe Varden. And I think it had to come down from the NBA as well, because you don't want anything stupid to happen. And it makes sense.
What do you think, Trey?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we can hear people talking, so you got to do it. To me, this is more saving the families from themselves. You don't want to have the situation that the Raptors had once upon a time where Chris Bosh's girlfriend was trash talking LeBron out on the court, so LeBron just put the team on his back and destroyed. You don't want to be the reason that your loved one loses a playoff game, so they're just saying, hey, just be cool out there. Just be cool. Don't be uncool.
Yeah, it really was. That's what this memo is. Everybody just be cool, okay? This is weird. We get it. But just don't go crazy on the officials and don't go crazy, heckling the other team. This isn't a normal basketball game. So just be chill and be cool, like you said there, Trey. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah, tensions are running a little bit high too in some of those games. A few of those nut shots. You don't want anyone's better halves or other halves sort of jumping the barrier and trying to get into it with somebody else. So yeah, and we saw the Paul George and Damian Lillard stuff where that got a little bit ugly on social media with some family members. So you just want everyone to understand, like, if you're down there, just watch the game, but also stay out of it as well. Just let the game be played, and then go back to your hotel rooms and go for a walk around, whatever you have to do. But don't bring any unnecessary attention to the league, please. Right.
Yes, that's a good way to put it too. Okay, final one here. According to the New York Post, Vince Carter has agreed to join ESPN as an NBA analyst, I mean. I didn't know this, but Air Canada has gone through the Players Association's Sportscaster U camp, doing TV and radio, which has included previous work for ESPN and Turner. So up or down on Vince joining ESPN? Let's ask JD. JD, are you there?
I'm here.
There you are. What do you think? Up or down on Vince going to ESPN?
Down. Way down.
Why?
I'm pretty sure we asked him to come on our show to join the starters back 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've basically been sitting in this box, keeping it warm for him. Vince Carter is in the DNA of this show. Our first pick and payoff was Vince Carter related when we sent Tass down to the ACC wearing a Vince Carter jersey. He almost got killed that night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm frankly, I'm upset.
You're offended.
I'm offended. I'm upset. Yeah, thumbs down. Thumbs down from me.
Okay. What do you think there, Lily?
Yeah, same, Vince. Come on, man. Come on, Vince. We would have found room for you on the no dunks team. You know, we have. I've spoken to him at the finals. We've had the dunk contest. He was marking Trey's dunk there. The reverse, he gave it. I think he only gave it a 9 because he said he's seen it before. I mean, Vince is a great guy. He's going on ESPN's a little bit of a stuffy look. He's going to have the shirt and tie and all that. I want Vince to be loose and casual, man. So I'm not going to withdraw the invitation for him to come on No Dunks. It's going to remain out there. An open invitation. If you change your mind, Vince, you're always welcome. I think he lives in Atlanta too. So, we can accommodate him.
Right. And I mean, it would have been pretty ironic for Vince Carter, of all people, to be on a podcast, a show called No Dunks. I mean, that's memorable. You'd be like, what? Why is he on No Dunks? He's a dunker. But what do you think, Tass?
Well, I just want to ask Lee, you said the invitation is still open. Have you sent him an email? Have you asked him, hey, what's up, man? You want to come on Pop and Packs?
Sure.
No, I haven't been able to find a contact for him. But if I
go to his house. He lives in Atlanta. Just go to his house.
Yeah, if I do, he'll definitely get the invitation. No question about it. But a little hard.
But see, now you're screwed. Now he works for ESPN. You're not going to get him through those back channels.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. But I've got a few other little methods that I use, and every now and again they work.
All right. What do you think, Trey? Carter did minor in communications. I also learned in that New York Post article. Yeah.
Interesting. I guess he's been out of college for 20 years, though. So does he still have the skills? It's hard to say. I mean, I was up on this. Vince is going to be good on the desk or on a broadcast, whatever they end up doing with him. But now I'm down. Like you guys are saying, he should be on No Dunks. That's just how it is. Sorry.
Right.
I mean, you could work for ESPN or you could work for us. One of the two.
Yeah. I mean, and we would pay you nothing, and you'd still have a lot more fun. But yeah, sure.
Hey, we did this show for 3 years and didn't get paid. We'd pay him eventually.
Yeah, eventually. He'd have to earn his keep for sure. He'd have to prove he can breathe. We didn't pay Lee for like 6 years. We just started paying him.
Exactly.
All right. We pay him in basketball packs, cards.
Well, the good thing is that we can't get Vince Carter, apparently, but we can still get Alvin Williams or maybe John Wallace, depending on who signs the contract.
All right. Best of luck to Vince. Of course, we'll be watching him. I'm sure he'll be fantastic, whether he's on the desk or he's on the call, because I don't think he probably will do both. All right. We're going to get you all set for today's games, but first, a quick break. Okay, Lee, time for Tweet of the Night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter. Okay, so this one comes in from a fan, and I think this one was staged because it comes in from Hobo Reload. Hobo Reload Jake is his name, and look, the NBA's had a pretty good run of virtual fans. No one's been doing anything they shouldn't have been doing until last night, and I think the reason why this is actually Hobo Reload is because I think no one else could have possibly been paying attention unless they knew this was going to happen. If you go to sort of the mid top of this photo, you'll notice that somebody has got the
there it is.
They got the moon out.
Enhance.
Yes. And again,
Boost up on camera.
like it's very hard to pay attention to the virtual fans when you're watching a game. So I think what he's done is he said to someone, all right, or he's done it himself. He said, all right, I'm just going to do it, and then I'm going to make sure I know what time it is on the screen, and then I'm going to capture it for everybody. And he's done it. So
now you're convinced that's a man's buttocks. Because I think it's a womanly. And the reason I say that is we got this tweet sent in to us, and somebody tagged us in the tweet. And then I was watching, like, obviously the rest of the game, and I thought in that seat there was a woman.
right. Well,
So maybe Hobo Jake here and this woman are in cahoots, in caboose. I don't know, something there.
yeah. So anyway, they've had a good run, the NBA, and I think this was gonna happen eventually. And this is
I don't think that's a man or a woman. I think that's Chester Cheetah. That looks like the Cheetos mascot right there.
Huh.
Not sure.
I'm not seeing that, but yeah, maybe. So maybe this is marketing, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, interesting. All right. So, well, this is nice. I mean, we went from the George Hill dump to the Luka drinking piss to now the butt shot here, virtual fans.
Yeah, that's it. I think we're done now. We don't need any more. But
tomorrow's tweet of the night will be clean. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I hope so.
Maybe that was a Dude Wipes marketing ploy there. Trey,
Wow,
you know those guys.
that's a great idea. Yeah, I wouldn't put that above them to demonstrate a dude wipe. The only thing that could happen now is maybe somebody gets a little manscaping going on there in the virtual fans.
Wow.
We saw a virtual fanny. So what's next?
Wow. I mean, I'm going to assume you had to like sign a waiver for these virtual fans, right? Like you can't do stuff like this. So maybe the person I ended up seeing later was like someone else completely.
They had to sub out real quick. You would think.
I mean, so there must be someone literally watching almost every fan there to make sure that this stuff. Yeah,
I would assume so. Yeah.
And they cut their feed, I would guess, if they see some sort of, but maybe someone wasn't watching, wasn't paying attention. And someone thought now's the time to slip the butt shot in.
Yeah, it's like that couple that was having sex up in the old Skydome Hotel once a month. Got it by the cameras.
That's right. All right. Well, we'll get to the bottom of this story a little bit later. Okay, let's set up quickly today's games. Tass, what do we got a game 7, baby. What else we got?
Yeah, exciting stuff. Denver and Utah, 8:30 Eastern on ABC Network Television. Everybody can watch a game 7. Should be fun. Again, as we said yesterday, probably expect the Jamal Murray's and the Donovan Mitchell's numbers to drop off a little bit in a game 7. It usually gets a little ugly.
Yeah.
That's what tends to happen in game 7s. Those numbers probably won't be there, especially considering the Jazz have got to change their defense a little bit on Jamal Murray. But hey, we're expecting a great game, I assume. And then the first game of the day, 5:30 Eastern, nice and early for everybody here on the East Coast. Super early for the West Coasters. Boston and Toronto, game 2 of that series. I don't say that one first. I said it second because, wow, it's not looking good for the Toronto Raptors. But hey, they might fight back. They might fight back and have a good game. So looking forward to both those. Very,
very excited for both of those games. What's the highest point total for one player in the Nuggets Jazz game tonight? We talked about Murray obviously going for 50s. Donovan's gone for 50s. What is it in a game 7? Let's get some prediction. That's our final prediction before we go here. What do you got, Lee? What's the highest? And name the player if you want.
Jamal Murray, 41.
41.
He's on fire. Yeah, I just feel he's going to get it. Let's do it, Jamal.
All right. That would be 4 40-point games in a row. I wonder if that's a series record. Maybe.
LeBron against the Warriors, I think in the finals had a couple of. He started with a 50. And then,
did he do 4 in a row though?
No,
over 40. I don't think so, but but maybe he did. I don't know. I'm sure Jordan has done it. I'm sure Wilt has done it or something. Okay, so 41 Jamal Murray. Trey, what do you got?
38 from Bol.
Love it.
Nice pick.
Nice swerve there. What do you got, Tass?
Well, I just mentioned the Skydome, old Toronto Blue Jays. I'll give a number 29, just like Joe Carter had on his back when he knocked that one out of the park in 1993. I think a 29er is high enough.
That's it.
And we got to remember, 29 is not a bad number. Not a bad number for a guy to have in a game 7.
Good, okay.
Jamal or Donovan. I don't know. I don't know who to pick in this one.
29 feels too low to me, man. I don't know. Somebody scored over 30. So give me 35. 35 will be the high, and it will be. I'll go Murray. Why wouldn't you? I'm not picking against him right now, but both of those guys could easily go for that, as we've seen time and time again. Should be fun. Hopefully, it's a close game 7, and we got a lot to talk about on tomorrow's show. Enjoy those games. Hopefully, the Raptors can also put up a little bit better of a fight, and we can talk about that too. Email us your questions and comments to nodunks@theathletic.com. We'll be stepping on the beach tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday afternoon. So you still have a little bit of time to get those cues and comments in. If you listen to the podcast on iTunes, keep leaving your boys a 5-star rating and review. Trey, you said it's 5-Star Friday, right? At the end of this week.
That's right. First of the month. So first Friday of the month, get them in.
Get them in. All right. We will see you guys on Wednesday. Thanks for joining us today, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, this is a little known fact about Vince Carter, but his autograph looks a lot like Alvin Williams's and John Wallace's. It's totally true.
Embrace the day, people.